All right, we're here so lucky to be joined today by the president of Top Rank, Todd Duboef. Todd, thank you so much for your time today. How's everything going there in Las Vegas?
All is good. It's nothing like Vegas in August summer, but besides that, it heats up.
No doubt about it. Well, you got Teofimo Lopez out there Saturday night making his return fight, first time back since his November loss to George Kambosos. You know, he's fighting a guy, Pedro Campa at Resorts World, Saturday night on ESPN. Tell me about this fight from your perspective. Obviously, Teofimo is like a 30-1 favorite. He's expected to win this fight. But in your eyes, what is the story of this fight?
I think, I think in our eyes and in his is, do we look at the Kambosos result as a miscue, or is there something, amiss with Teofimo, right? Did he show a chink in his armor? Is he more vulnerable than we think? What was it? And I think the Kambosos result surprised a lot of people, and I think it surprised a lot of people even in our office on how that was going to play out. So I think a lot of it is, how does he do at 140? How is his health, both physical and also we've heard the stories of some mental health issues where he wasn't so clear about where he was with his personal life and everything. So I think those are important things. And I think, our matchmakers feel he's in with a very solid, opposition, a very quality fighter, and he's going to, make Teofimo go through that. He's gonna fight back, and he's going to be there all night. And Teofimo's going to have his A game, and he's going to have to work for it. And that's what I think this is like a true test. And I think when you have those types of fights that you all of a sudden you change up on, and nobody projected that out, this is the time to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, as a promoter, this is the kind of fight you want for him, right? You do want it to see him tested, given everything that you just referred to.
Well, I think a lot of it is with Teo and his father, they have such swagger, and they've gone out there in a wonderful way, selling themselves and selling how terrific he is. And truthfully, he's an explosive fighter, and we've seen great power, and he's got that fast twitch, and every time he opened up his mouth, he delivered. And I think we're all a little shocked by what happened in the Kambosos fight. And it was riddled with COVID postponements. And, he says he had an injury or everything. So I think the question is, what is it, right? This is the test. What do we got? What side of this are we on? And, we know he's got a lot of ability, but let's just see what happens,
Yeah. Speaking of that, having read back through some of Mark Kriegel's reporting on what happened to Teofimo with that restricted airway, and so the air that was in his neck and all of that during that fight. When Teofimo disputes the scoring in the Kambosos fight, if I was his publicist, I think I would say, you don't need to talk about that. All you have to do is talk about it. If you have any excuse at all, it's just to say, look at this health crisis that I was undergoing in this fight. I almost died. I'm going to be healthy now, and let the chips fall where they may. Do you agree that that's the biggest? He wasn't himself that night because of that health crisis.
I think there's an epidemic in today's scoring system where people always blame the judges if they don't agree with what happened. I remember I watched a tape of I think it was Leonard Hagler 2. And I think it ended up in a draw, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
And Ray had his arm around Tommy, and he was shaking.
Oh, Leonard Hearns, yeah, Leonard.
Excuse me, Leonard Hearns. I'm sorry, yeah. Leonard Hearns 2. I apologize.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Hearns won that fight.
And Ray was in the center of the ring, I don't know how that happened, man. It was and it's what happened to that? What happened to that era, right? It was respect, get it. The guy got over on me. Maybe the next time. I mean, anybody that's a competitive athlete or has been in competitive athletes, sometimes it's your day, sometimes it isn't your day, right? But it doesn't mean to point the finger and blame something else. Blame yourself once in a while, like, damn, I was injured, or damn, I was off. You fought a hell of a day.
The truth,
You fought a hell of a fight. And I think that is really respectful. And I'd like to see more of that. And I think, I think people just, I mean, we do see a lot of inconsistencies in scorings across the world, and all the judges are trained in different ways and from different states on how they get licensed. So I think that's a place for improvement, but let's not keep pointing the finger when you have an off night, right? And just say, oh, it was the judge's fault. He had an off night, he had a physical impairment. That's what caused the problem. Or a multitude of issues that caused it, and just go from there.
Yeah, obviously the best thing for boxing is for Teofimo Lopez to revert to form in this fight. And let's be honest, now that he's moving up to 140 pounds, there is just so many, there's such a wealth of talent in that division. I know for sure we've got the likes of Arnold Barbosa, who's in Top Rank, is told me he's going to be coming to that fight. Ryan Garcia says he's going to be coming to the fight. You've got, so many other guys that you could make in-house fights with. Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez. For you, if we see the old Teofimo on Saturday night, what would you see would come next for him?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's the old Teofimo. That's a good question. I think there's a basket of guys there, and I think you touched on a lot of them. I think you have Jose Ramirez, you have Josh Taylor, you have Zepeda, you have Catterall, you have Arnold Barbosa, you have Devin Haney at some point wants, it says he wants to go back. He says he wants to go back. What if Tio said, I want to go to 35 and fight Loma again? He wants it again. I want to do it, right? There's so much to do. So I think for me to put a crystal ball out there with the kind of quality fights that are available and make some projection about what's going to happen, I just think you just let it organically play. And, and we love to listen to you. We love to listen to what's going on in the social hater sphere where everybody's just destroying everybody and helps us, make matches.
Unbelievably rich division though, right? I mean, my God, the talent that is at or around 140 is sensational.
I think from 30 to 40 is brilliant. I mean, really terrific stuff. I mean, Shakur is at 30 and he's as big as any of the 40-pound guys. I mean, and so I'm not saying he's going to 40, but I mean, I don't see him holding off at 35, not going to 35 pretty quick.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Loma is probably the smallest of all of them, who could probably go backwards and fight probably as low as 26 to 30. So I think it really plays that interesting.
Can you give us any kind of update on Loma? I know when we spoke to Bob Arum, he mentioned the possibility of a fight this calendar year. Is there still a possibility for a fall bout for Loma?
Yeah, I think, obviously we're taking his lead on, his commitment to the Ukraine cause and him being in the Ukraine defending his country. So we've been taking his lead. My understanding is that he is considering, or he's coming back, or going to be coming to the U.S. at some point in the near future. And hopefully that's the case. And once he's on the ground, or if he is on the ground, that would be great. Then we could start, blocking and tackling and finding something for him. But not until we heard from his manager that said that he wanted to fight as soon as possible, something in the fall. So, but I think, once he's here and once we would be ready to go, because having him back in the ring is something special.
I know that Usyk is doing something special in regards to allowing the pay-per-view fight to be aired for free in the Ukraine. Obviously for Loma too, it's not about resuming his career, but also giving a little bit of a lift, a boost to the Ukrainian people and say, look, you can take a break from the war for a little bit to watch me fight again. That's got to be in his heart, knowing Loma as we do.
Well, I mean, I think his adamant position that he was staying there and staying with his people and with the country was a, a very. I mean, he was offered the fight before Haney was. That fight was his. He wanted all his titles back. We were able to deliver it, and he chose not to. And that showed a lot of dedication and determination. He's a special individual.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And lastly, Todd, before we go, there's been some weird news out of the Tyson Fury camp. We know it's all over the map. Tyson saying that he's going to fight Derek Chisora, come out of retirement to do so. Bob Arum comes out and says, "Well, hold your horses. Nothing's done on that, and it probably will not happen." What's your assessment of this whole situation with Tyson? What do you know?
I don't think we know anything. I kind of like when I heard it, I almost heard like it was like a game show. It's like, I'm going to take Derek to shore now. Like, I'm like, what is this? Like, what's behind the next door, right? I'm going to be retired now. Which one is it? I don't.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, exactly. You just go along for the ride.
Yeah.
I think, obviously there's a big heavyweight fight coming up with Joshua and Usyk in the rematch. I think you look at what happens there. As far as we're concerned, I've heard he's retired. Tyson, that was the last thing I was in at the Dillian White fight. He's like, I'm done. I don't need it anymore. I've got all the money. And then you hear rumblings back and forth. He's a very special personality to have associated with the sport. And he's a brilliant boxer, and to have a heavyweight with that kind of charisma is great. So we'd love to have him, come back into the sport and get back into the headlines and fight some really good quality guys and have that conversation with him. So I think right now it's still unknown, but I think you also have to look at what the landscape looks like from the heavyweight division.
Knowing what you know and knowing the business as you do, when you sit down and watch Joshua Usyk, I would assume that you're rooting heartily for Anthony Joshua in that fight. Am I correct?
I don't have I'm not like a fan of either of the guys. Like, I'm rooting for one over the other. I don't look at it that way. I think the first fight was a good fight. I give Usyk a lot of credit for how he looked and how he boxed so brilliantly. I was shocked because I think the fight before, he didn't look so solid as a heavyweight. I was like, nah, he's not going to be able to play with these big boys. So I don't really have like somebody I'm rooting for in that. I think that what I'd like to do is it be decisive, and so we know that it wasn't no controversy or nothing like that, and see if Joshua can connect with him this time, or see what Usyk could do. I thought there were a couple times that I couldn't believe it. I thought Usyk hurt him, and so it's going to be an interesting fight, and let's see who the winner is. I'm interested as much as you are.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, Todd. Really appreciate your time today. Have a great fight Saturday night against Teofimo Lopez versus Pedro Campa, Saturday night on ESPN from Resorts World in Las Vegas. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
All right. Bye-bye.